Hello, everybody. Look at all the smiling, happy faces, and you all look amazing today. Hold on. I knew we'd have a big audience. Two of your favorite people at once. I mean, talk about a win-win. And I promised I wouldn't ask anything too personal, like, childhood trauma and all that. But so,
want to talk about.
well, I'm not going to introduce. I'm not going to waste any of your time saying, "Oh, this is Johnny Heller, this is Joanna Perrin," because if you don't know who Johnny Heller or Joanna Perrin are, then definitely just get on Google. Everyone knows these two. So, how did you guys meet each other?
Take it, Joe.
No, you can take it.
I'll try and keep this brief.
Keep it short.
All right. When I first came to New York, I didn't know anybody, and I met everybody I met playing softball, so I was good at that.
Were you already a narrator?
Well, I was an actor. Let's see. No, I came here. No, I wasn't. I didn't.
No, you weren't.
No, I was not narrating then. It was before that. And I played ball with her at the time, ex-boyfriend, but she was at a lot of the parties and functions. And basically, long story short, I stalked her until she agreed to go out with me. You remember those answer machines, people, the cassette?
Yeah.
I filled her cassettes. And so we finally had our first date was an all-day date. Literally, like from the morning we was on all day, and on the way home I told the cab driver, I said, "I'm not seeing any other girls. This is it. I'm going to marry this lady."
I almost jumped out of the
Yeah. So and we went out for 20 some odd years, and eventually she actually did marry me. But
that is so John Cusack under the window with that, what's that movie? John Cusack under the window with it's very romantic.
It was actually romantic, I thought at the time, but seriously, if you write it out, you can write the story and have the right background music, and it would be a stalker story. It'd be a little frightening. You have to call the cops on me. You can't. Half the crap we did that was great, you can't do anymore.
Well, the movies sell us that, don't they? The movies sell us the guy that's obsessed. And I know I wasn't the only girl that fell for it. I think those movies are responsible for half the dodgy relationships.
Very likely, yeah. Because you don't know if the guy's obsession is, he's a sweet guy who's just completely smitten, or he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
And the jury's still out on me.
Yeah, but I think you look back at your teenage years and you think, oh my God, if I was my parent, I'd be having a heart attack. Do you know what I mean? The trouble you would. So when did you start narrating? Was it you were already together and discussed it and kind of decided, or how did that happen?
Well, Johnny had been narrating for at least 10 years. At least 10 years. And I had absolutely no interest in narrating. I thought it was great that he did that, and I would go to the parties and meet people, and that was nice, but I didn't have any kind of interest. And then I don't know what really happened is a long time ago, I used to do children's programming, and so we would write entire scripts for TV and we'd record them. So I'd had done sort of this kind of stuff on cassettes years ago. And then a friend of ours was looking for somebody to do a book, but it needed a woman's voice. And I said, this was around 2008, maybe. Right. And it was educational. And so it was definitely a woman's book. And he's going, you need a woman to do this. He goes, I know somebody. So they threw me in a studio. I didn't know my tush from my elbow. And I started recording this book. And after that, they kept giving me books. And about a year later, I pulled the wool over their eyes. And about a year later, I started with regular publishers because they'd either heard, I should say, some of my educational stuff or whatever. And so I started with Tantor Audio when they weren't owned by Recorded Books.
But you know what I admire? I admire that, and tell me, is this a natural inclination, or is this something you guys had to work on and have a conversation about? You have very defined career paths, and you kind of each hold your own in your own way. It doesn't seem like you're like you as individuals in your art comes before the Johnny and Joanna, the couple. how have you protected that and not, because you know what they say about husbands and wives working together, and how do you guys do that with like kind of boundaries and not stepping on each other's feet? And I'm going to ask for your advice, or who do you think you are telling, because actors, you know how we are, you know, how do you maintain boundaries and professionalism but still support each other?
I think it just kind of forms. It's just natural.
I never even thought about it till you asked.
Yeah.
Really?
I
So it's just natural.
And we have to think about it. Well, you know, Johnny's a big muckety muck, and I'm kind of somebody in the middle. I'm not a big muckety muck. And so, you know, I'm fine with that. I'm a jobber. I don't mind working. I don't necessarily get amazing, some books are lovely, but I don't get like amazing, wonderful books. And I'm okay with that, I guess. And Johnny gets a lot of big work because he's Johnny Heller. And he's been narrating for 110 years. And it never entered my mind to be, you know, there's no cause for jealousy. I'm always working, he's always working.
I'll also say there's, you know, we've done a number of books together, but we're rarely in the, you know, it's only one person to a booth generally. Part of it is I think we both have a very, one thing that's really essential about the audiobook industry as opposed to other acting genres is the giving, the mentoring, the community. And I think because of that, we're both deeply invested in that. And it wouldn't occur to either one of us to lord it over the other, if you will.
Yeah, you don't lead with your egos.
A wee bit off. The tendency is to, gosh, how do I make, you know, I think we both, how do I make her feel better? How do I make him feel better?
You know, I think it's probably harder for couples if they're in, let's say, film, because, you know, if you're not working and someone is making 2 or 3 movies, I could see jealousy.
I have friends that are in that position. I think that's actually what triggered the question. I don't see you guys as jealousy kind of people, because you're both very strong in what you do individually as well.
We were talking the other day that a friend of ours, his show just got canceled, but he'll be working again because he's always working. But when he and his wife first got together, she was the big actor and he was nobody. And then all of a sudden he got films and television and they had kids and she disappeared.
Yeah, he's a star. We don't know where she is.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Wow.
Well, they wound up getting a divorce. It ruined their marriage. But then when he remarried, he married someone who's also an actress, does occasional TV, occasional film, and it works for them. She doesn't get jealous. He doesn't have to keep tabs on her, and it works. So I think it's harder in those kind of things. But audiobooks, I mean, it's so, you know, I'm not going to get the books. He's going to get books written by men. I'm going to get books written by women. And there's no real competition.
Yeah. And we've also been brilliant in not being successful in a film career.
Well, actually, you say that joking, but you've just made me realize something, because when I first became a narrator, I think when you marry someone, you marry them with a package. It's like your friend. You marry the package, and part of their career and their identity is who you're marrying, who you're getting together with. And I think my husband married the girl that, I'm going to be a burlesque star. Yeah, whatever. I'm a red-nosed clown now. Okay, whatever, 6 months. And I think I remember the day he realized that this wasn't going to end.
Yeah.
You know, I've locked myself in that booth for like a year now. And it did. There was like a moment, and we're like old people, you know, the kind of people that like, I'll be talking and I'll realize 20 minutes later he's left the room and I don't even mind, you know, when you're together that long. But it was a hard adjustment. I think maybe that's what it is you guys have always had the same identities the whole time you've been together.
We also haven't, I mean, Joanna, God bless her, never went into this thinking, you know, I can change him, you know. She knew what she was getting. And that's what, you know, and I also wanted it. Everything about her, what's good, bad, and everything. That's what I want. Because people said, because we were together a very long time before we actually married, and I always wanted to get married. And some of my friends say, if you want to marry her and she won't marry you, why don't you leave her? I said, because I still have her. That's the whole point. And she never wanted to, you know, she knew, I'll be frank, I'm pretty immature and sophomore. And
in case you didn't know.
That's his charm, though. That's
never ever going to change. Joanna has never asked me to be anything other than what I am, better or worse. that's that. And I think everybody's got to realize, granted, everyone, when you're together, eventually you start mirroring each other and you change, you get to know each other. But whoever that person is who that person is. And you can't expect you can change someone. They are what they are, what they are. They might get, better manners. They might, something with small, insignificant things can change. But whatever their personality is, that's what you married. That's what you got. And I think the biggest problem in relationships, I don't know how we got in a relationship topics.
I know, I can't help myself. I do this to strangers I meet and everything, but most calls, I did do it to Anna and Sean, to be honest. I'm thinking of doing, what was When Harry Met Sally? Okay, the thing where they have the old people on the couch talking about when I met Gertrude in 1802.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I was so tempted to do that to Johnny and Joanna. When I met Joanna.
Did you ever see Woody Allen's Take the Money and Run? Did you ever see that movie?
Yes.
It's very fun. I know Woody Allen's question, but it's Virgil Starkweather. Anyway, so they've got he's in jail, and so it's like it's a mockumentary. So they look at his parents, these two old Jewish people sitting on a couch, and they both have those big fake noses and glasses and mustaches, trying to hide their identity, talking about what a shitty kid their kid was. That's what I want to be.
I just had an image of future Joe guests hiding their identity because they're afraid of a hard question.
That's right, yeah. I never met. I didn't know who that was.
Okay, so I have another question, actually work related.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm realizing I had a bit of an eye awakening experience, whereas recently, and this consciously, but I remembered what Johnny said about if you're not feeling it, step away from the book, right? If you're not feeling well or something, or if you've got to walk away, you've got to be on and paying attention in the minute. Am I quoting you right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so, and I know, but as professionals, we have to do the amount we have to do in the time we have to do it. So I had a book where things were going wrong. Not anyone's fault. There was like a problem with the manuscript. There was something happened with the delay. Little weird things were going wrong. So I got it in my head that the writer thought I was a disaster, that this was like a disaster, but I was going to do the best job I possibly could and kill myself to make sure it was good. And I was about 3/4 of the way through the book, and it took me, I'd say, 3 or 4 times longer than my normal recording time, because I was trying so hard, and I don't know why, it just took longer. And she sent a message saying that basically she loved it, that she couldn't believe it was her writing. And I went and I was like, oh, that's nice, right? And I went back in to record, and the last bit of the book was done in like the blink of an eye. Suddenly it was effortless. I was flowing, and it really made me think, because I think I'm in the moment, and I'm obviously it's me and my big fat ego.
Right.
So how do you channel that? How do you manage that? I mean, I wasn't consciously messing myself up, but you know what I mean? Just knowing somebody's liking and approving of what you're doing.
Well, I think when that happens to me, and either it's an author, for instance, there's an author who asked me to do a second book, and she's a historian. So it's not like romances where, you do 2 or 3 books with the same author. So the fact that she wanted me to do it again, I was like, oh, the first book was effortless. The second book, I'm like, oh, because what if I'm not right for this book? What if I don't, whatever she liked about the first book, what if I don't do that in the second book? And I kept getting in my own way.
Getting in your head.
I was in my own head. And what happens is you're not really narrating. As you're narrating, you're running a whole opera in your head. Am I doing this right? Maybe a different take. Oh, maybe that's not the emphasis. You're just kind of commenting. So instead of committing to what you're doing, you're commenting the whole time in your head about what you're doing. And that's when I realize that's happening, that's what I try to get out of. I keep going, commit to what you're doing, just do it, take a decision, take a route, do the book, and stop commenting about everything you say. That's usually when I take the headset off for a while, so I don't have to listen to my voice. Or I put it on really low, or I only put one headset, ear in, so that I pay less attention to myself. But that's what it is. It's you're too busy commenting in your head as you're doing it, so it interferes with you. It's like there's two people in the room.
I think it's a truth that the more you are aware of the process of narrating while you're actually narrating, the less you're narrating.
Yep. Yep.
Because your mind is on the process. You have everything you need already because they hired you to do the book. You needn't think about, what am I doing? What I can do here? Just again, tell the damn story.
But I thought
Just tell the
knowing
story.
that was enough. I thought intellectually knowing better, and I'll just keep meeting myself in the moment, keep going. But I was shocked at how subconsciously I'd obviously been doing it.
But we all do. I'm doing a book. I was actually, not today, didn't have, but yesterday it's this fantasy adventure thing, and it's very bizarre. So I went off, and I realized I was narrating. I was going along, and I was maybe 3-4 minutes, and I said, I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. I have zero idea what in the hell I have no idea. So I had to go back and listen, and I could tell at what point I started thinking about other shit. All of a sudden I'm like, kind of thinking, well, that's what's going on. So I had to go back and redo it, and was clearly much better. But I'm talking, I'm realizing people say you can't multitask, and you really can't. But I clearly was not on the task I'd set. What I think we all forget is telling a story and staying connected to it throughout the duration of the time in the booth. It's very, very, very trying, very difficult. So you have to give yourself those moments to get out. Get up literally out of the booth and walk out for a while. Refresh yourself, get some fresh air, whatever you need to do, because what we're asking you to do is not normal. A 9, 10, 12-hour book. No one, if this little Zoom thing is going to go 12 hours, nobody on right now is still going to be there. No one listening or watching in YouTube land is still going to be there. There's no one's going to sit for 12 hours.
I think I could keep them for a good 4.
Yeah, you 20 minutes is the best I got for you. So I'm just saying that we're asking, you have to understand the process requires you to cease the process. Every once in a while, to take those breathers, take those breaks, so you can stay absolutely committed to the story.
Yeah.
Because at the end user, that's the listener, doesn't give a rat's ass about you using Pro Tools or Audacity or Studio One, and doesn't care about what your mic sound, what kind of microphone you have, or what pretty pictures are in your booth. They want the story for as many hours as they're going to listen at a time.
And you're right. You can't multitask, but that's not the saying. The actual saying is you can multitask, but everything you do is going to be rubbish. Yeah. Luckily, exactly. I think of it, actually, I was cursing it, but now I think it was a good thing. That day that was so difficult for me, I finished 2 hours because I was behind schedule. I had no choice. And then I promptly went freaking out, trying to do everything right, and deleted it. And spent the whole night, 5 hours trying to restore it because I hadn't backed it up to cloud. Rookie mistake, first time ever. And I had to redo that 2 hours the next day. But I was a different person. So probably that was fate saving me from 2 not great hours.
There's nothing wrong with redoing a section or a part you're not we're not on stage.
Yeah.
We have to remember that. Most of us are trained, and we should be, but most of us are trained for the stage. And the difference is, if Joanna and I are in a play and we go up on one of us goes up on a line, it'll be me. Joanna has to cover for me in the Wednesday matinee, but Wednesday night, that's when I can fix it. In the audiobook, if I go up, if I mess up, I can fix it right then. All those squiggly lines, no one needs to see the shitty squiggly lines.
Yeah.
Just give them the squiggly lines that work for you. The wave files that seem to make sense. Because otherwise, you don't finish book, go, man, I did a bad job. Here, let me send that off. Don't do that.
Well, but and that's the other thing. Before APAC, do you listen to your own stuff ever afterwards? Like, not just listen to it after you've recorded, but like, do you ever go back and listen to one of your own books? I did bring you up at APAC, by the way. You know that one book, I've Never Let You Forget, the time travel one? I happened to get in a room with a podium person. I was like, can you please make Johnny Heller and Sean Inman do another time travel book? So, but do you ever go back and listen? Because I never have. I've never listened. I thought that's in the past. And before I went to APAC, at the moment I found out that my director diagnostic person was the same person I'd accidentally sent an email meant for my sister to a few months ago. I was really nervous, and I thought,
was that $5?
Yeah. Oh, something about me being so fat after COVID, they were going to have to take me out of the flat with a forklift. Yeah. So I was a tiny bit nervous before that session. And I was I thought, I'm not going to overwork this and try to find a great piece because I'm stressing myself out. So I'm going to just find a book that I like, that I used to listen to. And it was a book I'd listened to years ago. I thought, ooh, I don't really like it. I listened to my own stuff that night. First time ever. I've never listened to my own stuff. And it made me feel good. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually not that bad, really. It wasn't what I thought it would be, because I thought it would get you all self-conscious. Do you ever listen to your old stuff?
I never listen to my old stuff. No. I have to really think about this. I think it would make me really self-conscious. And also, especially early on, we used to work for a company that had a proprietary, I can never say that word, proprietary system. And it was awful. So you couldn't pick your own beats. You had to pause where the machine paused. It was awful. It was just awful. And so I did probably 40 books on that system and hated it every time. And I would get people who say, she talks too fast, she talks too slow. Why does she keep stopping? And it was the software.
Right.
The software would speed up, slow down, or the software would cut you off in mid-sentence and bring it up to the next sentence. But this company had a lot of books and a lot of people worked with that. And so when I listened to those early books, I think I would cringe because I heard them there and I go,
but what about your recent books? What about your recent books? Would you ever listen to one of those?
Oh, even ones that people say like, no. Yeah. I just think I'd be too self-conscious.
I've never done it before. Have you?
I've never listened to a whole book I've done. I've listened to bits and pieces that I'm either quite proud of when I did it or horrible about when I did it. To listen to, what did I do? Why'd that go wrong? So that kind of thing. But I generally don't. The only one I've listened to throughout was Macbeth, which was a full cast, which we did recently. Dion and Scott and Kate Mazur and stuff. So I was quite pleased. As a matter of fact, Paul Rubin gave me I think I played 8 different roles.
Wow. And
because I like to do that. And there's a couple of times I heard a character say something. I said, who was that? And then I remember later, that was me. And so I said, that was kind of cool. So that's the only time I've done it. But listening to yourself feels somehow, I guess there's a learning curve or something. But I can't imagine being at the treadmill at the gym and someone say, what are you doing? I'm listening. I can't talk to you now. I'm listening to me work. It's like,
I've never been. And to be fair, I probably could never, because I listen to audiobooks every night when I go to sleep. And so this was me in a relaxed as a listener. And I think that was part of the exercise, that why it worked was I was trying to be like, forget it was me. And it was only like an hour worth, but it kind of as objective as you can get from a listener's point of view. This is so embarrassing to admit. It wasn't that I thought I was amazing. It was that I hadn't realized how much I'd been beating myself up until I listened and realized, well, those horrible, harsh things, the itty bitty shitty committee in your head, they're not right. Do you know what I mean? They're not.
Yeah.
You can get like an outside.
I imagine if you listen to yourself, you're just going to find fault.
That's what I would
And
think.
what, and I'm just not sure that's valuable. I think, if you go to your reviews on Audible, there's enough you can fault without you joining. I'm not sure it's a good call. Now, on the other hand, you need to listen to yourself in the process, in the booth, to see if you got something right. See if did I say such and such? Like, I used the wrong verb tense in something just today when I said, and I said it and it sounded clunky and wrong. And I went to the next sentence. I said, wait. Because I've always posited that you cannot move. You can't get from one beat as an actor to the next unless you've had that first moment. You can't, one moment doesn't lead to the next if the first moment is not realized.
Right.
From an acting standpoint. And it just happens to true in audiobooks as well.
And you lose the grip.
But I can't imagine actually. Yeah. I'd rather we watch British mysteries at night as opposed to listening to our own work.
Well, and saying that, I've only done it the once. I don't know if I could achieve objectivity again ever in my life. But yeah, it was an interesting exercise. I had my listener hat on rather than my narrator hat on. And I think my inner
That's
dialogue.
hard to do.
Well, what about your inner dialogue? Are you like so secure in what you do and comfortable that you don't fight? I mean, not even just narrating, getting in the booth, doing the things you need to do during the day, waking up and achieving your goals. Are you kind of like past work? I mean, everyone's got their stuff, but do you guys have like a mental struggle that you have every day that you like can't seem to change this habit or something? Do you have anything like that?
No. I will say, not attached to narration. I'm trying to create better habits. I've done enough audiobooks and I've learned that you can change, not necessarily get rid of a bad habit, but get a good habit if it's repeated daily for 2 weeks. That's what the stats show, to get into established pattern of health. So, for example, you mentioned COVID. During the COVID quarantine, I put on my own COVID-19. Same as, just sit around, eating and drinking, like Joanna had we had a lot of work. So as she's in the booth, I became a VIP steward member of wine.com and a couple of other meat companies. And I'm like, and this company, wine.com, great company, seriously, a great company, but they made a number of mistakes in their orders for me. I'd order what I wanted, which was bourbons and some wines. And they'd always send me like 6, 7, 8 bottles of wine that I had not requested, and they never asked for them back. And I drank them all. I mean, so when Joanna was in the booth,
that sounds a lot like the story I tell my husband about why I have so much faux fur.
I put on some, I wasn't going to the gym because I was scared to death. So now my habits have changed to try and, because I'm a little guy and weight shows up quick on a little guy. So I'm working. So some of the habits I'm changing, but in terms of getting up, and I'm one of the people who gets up bright, chipper, and hyper. I'm very hyper.
He's an alien.
Yeah,
He just he opens his eyes and pops out of bed right away.
Oh God.
Ready to greet the new day with love and affection.
2 hours later, my eyes are still.
Have you heard of the Mel Robbins thing? Because I'm listening to it again. I obviously didn't learn my lesson. Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
Okay, so she's got a theory that if you give yourself more than 5 seconds, you'll talk yourself out of doing anything. Your brain is equipped to talk you out of doing anything that could be a risky move, like diet, exercise, getting up out of bed, not hitting the snooze button. So her rule is that the minute the alarm goes off, you immediately say, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, feet on the ground, launch yourself up. You bypass the 5 seconds, so you don't have any thought involved. And if you start doing it for everything, you get
things done.
Yeah, you get things done. And it worked
can
for me
see
the
that
first
working.
day like a charm, but then the second
I
day I
can't see-
slept till
Well,
1:30.
because your mind gets occupied by the countdown, 5,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1, and
Yeah.
you have a chore to do, so you do it. So you haven't had time to negate it in your head or say, but I went to bed late, I need another half an
Well,
hour.
what about someone like me who comes up with horrible choices within 5 seconds? You know, I'm serious. What if a positive thing, you know?
You
So,
can't come
like,
up
well,
with
Joanna
anything
gets
because
out-
you're too busy counting down. And you're keeping your brain busy. Your brain
I
is
suppose if you
counting.
need it, I guess. I don't know.
Try
I don't-
Try
I
it
don't
tomorrow.
think so.
What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to set the alarm for 30 minutes before you normally wake up. So it's painful. So that you wake up.
I wake up.
Oh, God.
I wake up instinctively before the alarm. Whatever I set it
Yes,
for, I'm
that's
up
crazy.
5 10 minutes before it, regardless of the time. If it's 4 a.m, I'm gonna get up at 6 a.m, and I'll still get up at 10 to 6. I always do. I'm always ahead of it.
Right. See,
So
those are the
this
times
doesn't
I'm
work for
normally
me.
going to sleep.
Yes. Joanna gets up in a few, and then, you know, she gets up and then, you know, looks around a little bit and goes back to sleep. She gets up, gets some coffee, takes a nap. You know,
Well, because
she has to get up early to get that nap in on time.
I don't take naps, you do. But I go to bed really late.
Yes. She's an
Yeah, you
insomniac.
do.
Really late. And then when I finally get to bed, it takes me at least an hour to 2 to fall asleep.
Do you
So
like going to
frequently I
bed
see-
late or do you try to stop it?
I've tried. No, I have tried. I try and I get into a little pattern where I dock myself an hour. So instead of 5 o'clock, I'll try 4 o'clock. And then the next night I'll try 3 o'clock. And that usually works for 3 or 4 nights. And then I'm back into it. I was going to say my thing is probably organization. I'm really good. Like audiobooks, I'm always early. I deliver before the due date is on a Friday. You'll get the book from me on Monday. When it comes to that, I'm fine. But when I don't have that strict a schedule, I let the entire day float by me. And then around 11 o'clock at night, oh, got to do my emails. Oh, got an idea for a story. So I start writing or I start doing my work once it's dark because when the dogs are sleeping and he's asleep and the house is quiet, all of a sudden I'm organized. So I stay up late doing what most people do during the day. I'm doing after 11
They say
o'clock at
it's
night.
genetic. They say some people just are not meant genetically, and then the way you're raised, you inherit it from your parents. And then did your parents go to bed early when you were growing up?
Well, 11 or 12, but I will say I was as a kid, they had to do dances to get me to fall asleep, even as
Yeah.
a baby.
I
would
was
not
under the
sleep.
covers
Yeah.
with a flashlight reading the Marquis de Sade and Charles Manson when I was like 8. But from Nancy, what are the habits you would change for or about each other? Work habits, if you have any.
About each other?
Yeah,
work
about
habit?
each other.
You want to know what I would
Nancy.
change about Joanna's work habits? Or
My work habits?
What would I change about your work habits? I'll tell you this. Okay, here's a take. You know, I don't. Everybody has their own style, process, and everything in their
Yes.
work, and whatever gets you to the finish line seems to me to be swell. I will say for my person, because Joanna and I share a booth.
Right.
And she likes to be. She's the late night booth guy, so she goes in. You know, I'm there during the day. She's at night. But I think that Joanna double checks everything constantly.
I do.
You know, she's and it takes like because I just got 5 more pages to do, and then 5 hours later she'll come out. Like, what in the hell was in those pages? You know, so and I'm simply not,
Very
like Joanna goes back and you listen to she goes back and checks her stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly. I have never gone back to check a damn thing.
It's probably why I don't
Yeah.
listen to my books.
Yeah.
'Cause I've heard myself while
Yeah.
I'm recording.
Yeah.
Um,
'Cause you could-
but see, I don't think that's something that should be. I just think
I
that's
wouldn't change. It's just a style.
There's different
It's just the
personality
different
styles.
Brian checks nothing. I've never met. He checks nothing. He literally goes and he just starts recording.
Yeah, see, and that's how I am. That's why punch and roll is so easy to me. I don't really understand why people have an issue with it. To me, punch and roll is like,
With punch and roll.
it took me like a little longer to learn it because people kept making such a big deal about it. And I kept saying,
You thought there was more to it.
I
Yeah.
thought there was more
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
and so we do have another question.
Wait. So
sorry.
Sarah did have one that wasn't this question. I wanted to ask her. I want to
Okay.
answer. She said,
Okay.
I do a lot of political stuff in my posts.
Right.
And have I had any repercussions because of it? And
Oh,
the answer is
okay.
yes.
Yes.
Those of you who know me know where I stand and what I think. Two things. One is if you're going to use, I have a separate Johnny Heller actor page and a separate Johnny Heller Twitter voiceover guy. You know, I don't say anything political there unless I made a mistake. In my other page, I say what I want to say. If you're going to say anything on either side of the fence or anything political or anything at all, you've got to be able to understand there will be repercussions. Or might, but anyway, you've got to be able to own what you said. So I had an author or two were furious that I was so rabidly anti-Trump. So I had finished the book. We're never going to use you again. I said, well, okay, I don't care. On the other hand, and long before the Trumpism began in this country, I did a lot of conservative, politically conservative books from conservative politicians. And no one, I did the biography of Chris Christie, all those things. No one seemed to care. Now they know who I am. I don't get those anymore, but I get the other side now.
Yeah.
So the repercussion is now I'm reading stuff I already agree with. So now I don't have the same insight into the enemy's camp that I had. But that's about it. So,
it's what Sean said, though. Sean said that if you don't do your own branding, someone else is going to do it for you. You've just got a very strong brand. So with that come the choices. Jonathan would like to know, Johnny, as a male, do you have any tips for a male with a bass pitch voice narrating a female character?
Here's the deal. It's not the sound of your voice that's going to have the issue doing playing a female character. Everyone knows you're a man. You sound just like one. When a female is in, you're just going to play the character in the scene. We're not asking you to pitch up your voice. Who is that person? Who is she? Play her in that scene. So I would say, like, here's me talking. I have a higher voice, but sometimes I just make it a little more gentle. I change the pace, the tone, where the sound is coming from, the pitch, all those things. The same way a female has to play a male. We've already asked the listener to suspend belief because we're playing everybody. When you watch a movie, I have to tell you something. Tom Cruise is not really in charge of Mission Impossible. That's acting. It's not really him. All those things. Everything you see in the movies didn't really happen. So when we do this, I think we get in our heads a little bit. So if you have a deep found voice like a Jim Seabird, that kind of deep sound, so be it. That doesn't mean you can't play a female, but you just play the character in the context the way the author wrote, and all of us will be okay with it. It's when you do this and no one's gonna like it. You can't do that. So I would not even worry about it. I would pay attention from our acting training. Who is this person? Who is she? How? And so you got to know the Stanislavski questions. What does she say about herself? What does the author say about her? What do other characters say about her? And I'll add, what's the context of the scene? If everyone says she's so nice, she's so sweet, she's so nice, she's so sweet, and everyone says, because I'm a nice, sweet person. But then she's in a knife fight with Hell's Angels. Maybe she's not as nice and sweet, so you can play the context differently.
And also, she's not stupid, because some men, I'm sorry, Johnny does not do this. Johnny, I couldn't listen to you if you did do this. Some men, I don't know if it's the way they think all women sound, but they tend to interpret female voice and make her sound like she's stupid. And all the women suddenly sound stupid. It's like,
yeah.
You're
If a character's stupid, play
three-dimensional
stupid.
Character.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a stupid gender.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist in the real world. It's just, there are idiots. There are idiots in every gender, but not every gender is an idiot. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah. That's dangerous. I've not noticed that. Then again, I just haven't. But that's a horrible thing. If you discover that, and you should tell me later who it is so I can chastise them.
Because I listen to a lot of heavy thrillers, and I love the deep, hard, edgy male narrators, and most of them are quite good at it. But a few of them, they try to go the opposite way, and I guess they hear the description nice, so they go too soft. And, they talk like this, and they don't understand anything. I just want to punch them. I'm like, there's no woman that stupid.
I think one of the ways around that, and Joanna will agree with me, I think, what I always suggest to my students is to cast the characters from your frame of reference. So if there's a character in the book and I say, Daniela, this would be Daniela, she could play that. Now, I don't have to impersonate Daniela, but if I have Daniela in my mind, it's going to change how I play it. Or if I have anyone, if I have I always have Kiwi Reese. I mean, where this book? What's this? Any actress. If I have Jessica Alba in my mind, sorry, if I have whoever I think of, if I think, let's say the character I'm thinking Clint Eastwood, I don't need to do a Clint Eastwood impersonation. But if I have someone in mind, it's going to change how I play it. And I think you've got to get that, cast it from your frame of reference, and it'll be a much more honest characterization.
And if you're going to do a duel, always reach out. Always reach out to because I'm sorry, if you're going to do a duel and do your part first and you're just going to make all the women sound like this, I've got a deeper voice than you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got to call people this. I made you Minnie Mouse. Is that okay?
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to check in case now we do have questions coming in. Oh, I love Harry. I don't have a question, but Jonathan posted one without the word question in it. Love you, Harry. I do. I love Harry. If I ever get sick, Harry, you're taking over the calls. Stephanie has a question. For a first demo, better to show breadth across genres or focus on a presumed niche or your perceived strengths? Good one.
Oh, there's a lot of big words.
Yes, you do demos. So
all right. I don't answer all the questions, but
I have an opinion.
Well, let's hear your opinion, and I'll.
Well, no, don't do your demo.
All right, look. Here's what a demo is. First, whether it's your first or 15th, it should demonstrate your skill. It should show talent buyers who you are at this moment in time. If you are branding yourself, and I absolutely despise that. If you want to brand yourself and just do left-handed Armenian sci-fi, then that's all you should have on your demo. If you want to show your skills, here's what you have to have in a demo, okay? You have to have a fiction, you have to have a nonfiction, you have to have male-female dialogue. Those three things. You have to
have nonfiction, even if you're not interested.
No, that's what people want. If you don't have it, you're not going to get nonfiction. That's all. Yeah, if you want to work in. If you use the two, here's fiction, here's nonfiction. Those are the two titles under which everything must fall. If you don't want to do nonfiction at all and cut yourself off from a gazillion books and tons of money, it's entirely up to you.
But what if you don't mind doing nonfiction, but do you include it even though, because you only get to put a certain amount on your website?
Wait. Here's the thing. What you would like to do and what publishers will cast you for frequently don't mesh. If I had my way, I'd live on fiction. No, they hire me for nonfiction morning, noon, and night. Okay. I would never have picked that for myself, and I would never have seen that as being me, because it never was. I mean, I'm reading books that I would never have read personally, my personal taste. So I think that you can't judge what your niche is until you see what publishers think it is, which is why you have to have fiction and nonfiction. You may think you suck, pardon my French, at nonfiction, and you do a piece that somebody hears and they go, "Oh, she's perfect for this." Yeah. So
I'll add nonfiction to my website. That's.
The reason you should have it is just because it gives them the opportunity. Because unless you literally do suck at it.
I'm actually good at it, and I do get a lot, but I get a lot of religious books and things.
You can put a religious book up there. Here's the deal. Yeah,
right next to my psycho killer book.
I like that. I like that juxtaposition. I love that. It shows such range.
Okay.
Seriously. And what on your demo, however, it should be 3 to 5 to 6 pieces. Some people have 15 pieces once they get going. That's fine, but everything needs to be set up, and this is nonfiction, evangelical Christian religion. This is nonfiction science. This is nonfiction biography, memoir, whatever. This is fiction, science fiction, erotica,
Yeah.
male, female, alien dialogue, whatever it is. You've got to be as specific as you can, because the talent buyer is not looking to see if you do fiction or nonfiction, much too broad. But they want to know, can Daniela do a British accent in a romance? So, no, it doesn't matter if you may happen to have it or not, but that's a skill you possess. It should be there.
Yeah.
So you need to find pieces of that. Make sure that whatever you have as demos, demonstrate to all who listen how very good you are.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting, because I cut out some I really liked because I thought you had to have less. You get different advice every time you get advice.
Frequently, you will hear.
What do you have, 15 maybe?
Probably. In fact, I want to take 2. I wanted to have 12, but now it's branched to 15. You'll hear different publishers say different things. Like Guy at Macmillan, every time he talks about demos, he will say, well, 5 or 6, that's it. 5 or 6 is all,
That was when I cut mine all out. The narrator's retreat, Johnny Heller's retreat. Guy said that was what it was. Guy said.
Guy's from Macmillan. That's what Guy likes.
Guy.
Yeah.
It's at 5 or 6. That's what his deal is. And I remember saying to him, well, you say that, but at that time I had 12. I had 12, and I got a job based on an obscure thing that was on there. That was like the 11th or 12th thing on my thing. If someone hadn't bothered to go down and listen to that, I wouldn't have gotten that book. Okay. So I just put whatever I like up there. And the way those music players are that you have, the reader, you can see a whole list. If you don't want to listen to 10 or 12, don't. Yeah. So other publishers will say, I like diversity. I love when people.
Brian Barney likes all
Brian Barney. He loved my site. He goes, oh yeah, I loved all those. He goes, I just pick and choose what I want to listen to, because you can see it's a history, it's a fiction, it's nonfiction, it's biography, it's whatever. So he says, I'm looking for biography. I'll hit your biography.
You're one of the loudest speakers I've ever sat next to.
Because I'm sitting next to him.
No, perfect sound.
Going.
she's very loud.
She's not. And am I not wrong that you have a tiny bit of Italian blood?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So she's allowed.
Yeah.
If you're Italian, you have to speak up. I'm sorry, it's a rule. Right.
So anyway, I think the more, if you're good at something, put it up. But put up something in as many genres as you can, because you never know what the publisher is going to think and what they're going to book you for.
If you got 20 or 30 up there, that's silly. I always think I recommend 4 to 5 or 6, something like that. Seems to be enough, but it doesn't. It's not a rule. It's
I know, and that's right there. I think you put your finger on it, because I got advice on my cover letters, and so I went and changed all my cover letters, and I got a spreadsheet, and I'm going to send every 8 weeks to all these publishers, and the list grew to like 150 people every week. So I'm going to do it on Wednesdays, and I was really, really good. Then it started to feel rote, and it stopped getting like a reaction. So then I got different advice, and I changed all my cover letters. And I think I'm on like the 4th cycle now.
Are you that malleable that anybody advises you just change what you're doing? Are you not?
Well, because you want to get it.
I have confidence in your approach.
I've got my life on a spreadsheet till I'm 100 in 15-minute increments, Johnny. So like my default is to try to follow. What are the rules? I'll do it perfectly. But I'm getting that there aren't any rules, and you have to.
There's nothing black and white. The way I got into audiobooks. That way doesn't even exist anymore. So things change constantly, and what works for you is what should work for you. But if I suggest something, and Joanna suggests something different, and James Roman suggests something different, and Jimmy Siebert suggests something different, and Harry Roger Williams the 15th suggests something different, it doesn't. I don't know which one's right.
Yeah, it's all external. You start to chase. You feel like you're chasing the secret.
Even among publishers. That's why I love when, like last fall, when we did the virtual Rhode Island retreat, we had 10, 12 publishers.
Yeah, it was great.
Even they argue among themselves. Like I said, 6 demos, 12 demos, it's endless. I only want 3, nobody has the same opinion. It's kind of, you just kind of try what works best for you. If you find that you're sending in a lot of letters and you're getting no responses, maybe these are publishers that don't deal with a lot of email, or they only answer once a month or once a year.
And I'll say, Daniela, that actually that spreadsheet where you send out every 5 or 8 weeks to so-and-so, it becomes a little bit like one of those, Well, this form letters people give you. They put you on their mailing
the
list.
newsletters. But the worst part is, part of the advice I got when I hired coaches was that each letter's got to be personal. So I would go crazy trying to like really make each one of those letters personal.
Yeah.
And
I saw my scanner just cleared up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's got ridiculous. It got to the point that I was like dreading. So, oh God, it's 8 weeks. I'll move those over to the next. And today I looked at the list and I've been moving them all over week after week. Now they're all on the same day. So it's like, just send out 150 contacts today.
This whole list, here's the deal. We can work for a living or it's something shitty, or we can do this act.
Yeah.
And if this stops me, if you make all the work surrounding this lovely, lovely art, this lovely craft, difficult and unpleasing, you're not going to like the result either. The actor's life is not easy, but once you've found your place, here we are doing narrating audiobooks, telling stories, if that's what you enjoy, then don't make everything surrounding it a chore.
I have kind of removed myself most of the time from Facebook. I post pictures of my dog, photographer. I thought something was nice on the street, I post the picture. I comment rarely anymore. You've had a loss, I give you sympathy. If you've had a marriage, I congratulate you. You know, I give you a thumbs up. But I just don't put myself there. And I see people who 24/7 are on Facebook. Oh, I got a new book. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing that. And I'm thinking, who are they marketing to? They're marketing to other narrators. Yeah. Do you think the publishers are sitting there going, oh, she just got another book from so-and-so? Yeah. They don't care with a rival publisher. The publishers aren't seeing that stuff. I mean, it could be if you do Twitter, maybe they're more on Twitter, but I don't think they spend their time. So it just seems to me that a lot of the social media is everybody just spinning their own wheels.
And some of them are bullshitting you.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people say, I've got all these books and things. You know, I've seen people who have, I know they got a specific book and they will write about that specific title they got in 18 different ways. So make it sound like they've got 18 books.
But it's the same book.
And here's the downside. Let's say, I do know some publishers. I know a lot of publishers around social media, different things. If you put on social media, I just got a 9-book series. I'm booked right through September. Guess who's not going to call you for another job?
Guess who knows you know?
Every other publisher who saw that. So I'm not sure how smart marketing that is, because I may say, oh, you've done a good job. You know, when I see you again at our next APAC get together, I'll say, whoa, good job. But in the meantime, I'm going to take all those books you didn't get because I will take 2 books at a time. And so will some other narrators. You know what I mean? Depending on when the due date is. If publishers don't always think about, if they offer me a book or offer Joanna a book, they don't ask if we have other books in the queue. They say, here's a book, here's when it's due, can you do it? Now we know what's in the queue, and I say, well, if it's that date, yes. Or if you can extend it a week, yes, I can. So now I've got 2 books. When on Facebook, I only said I had the 1, but I've actually got 4. You know what I mean? I think you do disservice because you're making yourself seem unavailable to those who want to hire you.
I think that's why I feel like so many people try to make themselves seem busier. Like you even thinking, how come they're further ahead than I am? Not necessarily. They're just better at painting that picture.
Don't.
I hear it every single day. I hear 2 things. I am successful. I'm surprisingly successful. It's always out of the clear blue sky. And then at the same time, a constant stream of what's wrong with me? What am I doing?
You have no idea how hard and how long I worked to become the overnight success I am. You know, it's just,
Johnny worked back in the day, and I don't mean this to sound vicious, but I don't mean it this way. He worked back in the day where if you got an earphone award, you did a stupendous job. You could work for 10 years and get 2 earphone awards. Now, earphone awards are very nice, and it's nice that everybody gets them.
You're going to pay for that?
I'm going to pay for that. And the thing is, I think it's because there's so many people now and they feel they have to keep everybody interested. So to keep all the narrators interested, you know, there's more earphone awards going out. But it was a different business when Johnny started. I mean, it's just a different business.
In those days, we did There was actually, when I started, we're still doing a reel to reel. You had to cut things up. Seriously, I'm not kidding. It was like that. It was and the great thing about it was the Christmas party, they'd play these outtakes because they're really funny. You know, the bit you cut out and they put together, they were hilarious, some of them.
I still have boxes of audio tapes on cassette and the Walkmans to listen.
Well, you remember a commercial voiceover, you got the your commercial tape was a reel. It's an actual reel. That's where the word reel comes from. And the box had like a picture of you on it, and you'd literally hand this physical thing that an agent had to take and put into a real machine and play it. It's impossible to get an agent. No one wanted to do that. So the age of digital, I mean, it's the changes have been remarkable, super important, and well worth, as James wrote in somewhere in this chat thing, you do need to know enough tech to get by, because otherwise, you know, I'm known to be a tech Luddite, but I actually know enough to do stuff. But I also I know so very little that people are willing to help me.
The only time I ever remember to market myself is when I get to do a cool headliner clip, because I like that part. I love doing videos and the digital stuff. It's fun for me. That's the only reason I do Joe's, so I get to do those videos.
Well, for those of you marketing, Jim Siebert and I were talking just the other day. His daughter is majoring in this. I didn't know, it wasn't even a major when I went to college, but if you're gonna do marketing and stuff, one of the things that really gets people's interest, even if it's a short thing, is a video connected what it is.
I love the videos.
I do a lot of pictures and memes, but I'm gonna start for my workshops and things. I'm gonna start doing short videos, and Daniela wants me to do all of my for the hell of it blogs.
Yes, I'll do the bomb YouTube channel for you.
I will get to that. I'm just a wee bit busy doing my 75 books.
I'll do a YouTube channel. I'm good, I swear. And once I know animation, yeah. So, but yeah, the promo, I think that's the key. I think what Joanna said, it's because you can go, and also, I'm like, what are those birds that collect anything shiny? They steal them. Magpie. I'm like a magpie. Anything like social and fun, I'm there, the party, and it takes you away from your work.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. You know, when people tell me on Facebook, for instance, how busy they are, I'm thinking, I've been in here twice today just to check stuff, look through. And both times, and you know, you're on the algorithm, it'll show you the same people. I'm thinking, if all these people are as busy as they say they are, how do they have all this time to be on Facebook? I mean, that's square one. If you're busy working, you're in the booth, or you're, you know, trying to get work. You're either working, prepping, or trying to get work. How do you have the time to spend all day on Facebook?
And on the streaming platforms, I do want to watch the one with the Hillary Huber's one. That's the only reason I finally got on Clubhouse when it came out in the UK. But the only thing I ever got on was a group with ex-female prisoners that had made successes of themselves through religion or something. And then they called on me to be a speaker, so I ran away really quickly. So I don't really understand the Clubhouse thing yet.
I've been on it a couple times. I don't quite get it either. I mean, there's enough stuff to distract my work. Yeah.
I don't quite get it.
Yeah. I want to see the Hillary Huber call, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
Have I missed any questions? Johnny's so funny. He's been checking the questions. Oh, speaking of social media, the June is Audiobook Month challenge today is to name your favorite audiobook. Do Joanna and Johnny have a favorite they would recommend? Not necessarily their own work, just great to listen to.
What do you recommend?
Well, I definitely recommend my own. Well, no, I'll tell you, I recommend one that I'm listening to right now. It's called Lincoln's Last Trial. It's about interchanging Lincoln's Last Trial. And it's narrated by Adam Werner. It does a great job. I studied American history. My major's in history, so I quite like this, and he does a wonderful job. So I'm listening to that. But in terms of books that I've done that I really am proud of and like, there's a book called Noir by Christopher Moore that I feel very good about. There's a book called High Fire by Ewan Colfer, the poet laureate. The guy did Artemis Fowl. And this is about a dragon who's a drug runner. It gets involved in drug running in the Louisiana Bayou. It's funny. And one of my favorite all-time books is called The Coaster by Eric Wooster. And I like that because it's a murder mystery. But this guy writes the way I speak. So it's perfect. I mean, I really quite enjoyed it. It's called The Coaster. So those are my favorite. But I've done like 1,000. I lose track.
Yeah, I've listened to either wholes or parts of so many books, but I would say anything by Cassandra Campbell, who today became a Golden Voice. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did. Wonderful.
Cassandra's absolutely, I could literally, she's one of those people I could read the phone book. She's just amazing. So anything by Cassandra Campbell. And you know what? Almost anything by Hillary Hubert.
Hillary Hubert's wonderful.
She's
Oh
great.
my gosh, I agree
And
there.
anything by Carol Manda.
Carol Manda.
Who is known as a coach and totally seems unknown by people, even though she's
so great.
No, she's coming on a Joe call. Everyone knows Carol. Everyone
She
knows
has
Carol.
got that voice, the Manda voice, a deep voice. She anything she reads, I'm in love with. So it's any of those three women, I think.
Well, may I throw something out real quick?
Yes.
Those of you who aren't already members of the Johnny Heller Workshop alumni group on Facebook, drop a note in there. Feel free to say you're on this call, and I'll put you in the group, and then you can stay in touch with all of us.
Oh, lovely. That's a great group. I highly recommend it. It's not one of those annoying another thing stealing your attention. It's everyone's supportive, and yes, that's wonderful. Thank you, Johnny. Is your narrator's retreat already booked up?
New England Narrator Retreat.
Oh Lord, it booked up so quickly that it was shocking.
Yeah,
They hadn't even finalized how many rooms they were going to give us. Johnny just mentioned it, and people started throwing reservations up and trying to call the place. And like,
I had to put it on my website to market it before. I don't even have an agenda yet, but I do have the coaches. We've got Iris McElroy, who just left Harper to go to Penguin Random House. Will be there. It's going to be Monday to Thursday, October 18th through 23rd, I think it is.
Guy is coming back.
Guy McMillan. Guy from McMillan will be there. There's going to be, and it's going to be, there's still room if you live near Boston to attend as a day tripper. And I've booked some rooms in a hotel about 10 to 15 minutes away. There's rooms there. There are no more rooms at the actual venue, but 10 or 15 minutes away is a hotel that you can stay there and come to the venue and join us. So, and it's all on my website, johnnyheller.com.
I think it was just because all of a sudden people were getting their vaccinations.
Yeah, people are sick.
So as soon as he put this in, it was
Yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to, next year, after all the huggers get it out of their system, then I'm going to be skinny and gorgeous and rock up there and be one of those people standing by the fireplace at your retreat.
The big events are that we're going to have live after. I just did the 7th annual Splendiferous workshop, which is normally the day before APAC, and we'll do that again next year whenever APAC is. James has been there all the time. It's about what, maybe 175, 200 people at the Baruch College at Lexington and 25th, and it's a wonderful full day. And then what is that night? Is that night's the APAC party?
That night is where they have the.
And we do the naughties. The naughties will come back. Here's the naughties T-shirt from 2018. That's the not Audies. So if you're not going to the Audies, it's your party, and if you're done at the Audies and did or didn't win an award, everybody comes to the party anyway. So that's all. So all those things are going to happen again. I can't wait to see human beings again.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was everybody started to think, live 3D people, we can see each other, and so it sold out really quickly.
James Romick, I just was thinking, he's very excited about free breakfast.
About the breakfast.
Like about 11sies.
We have a good lunch. We have good catering.
Yeah, we do. It's a pretty good time. I think that I'm gonna say that Joanna and I put together and Scott Brick, and we put together some pretty nice workshops that actually you can learn something from and grow from, and there's never any negativity, even a second of it.
From what I've heard is people make friends for life. That's what I've heard. People they genuinely make friends they keep forever. Anytime they go to those workshops.
Which is surprising given what a little shit I am. Yeah, that was
friends with other people.
Yeah.
I think it's lovely. I can't tell you guys how much I've enjoyed two of my favorite people to chat with. So getting you both on the same call was a real treat. And and I've got to say, I think when I was talking about the 3 tiers, the newbies coming in with the digital and the branding and the marketing, and the older people, not older, but veterans that have, knew a different industry, and then the people in the middle that don't know where to land. I think the thing I take from you, and every time I'm talking to both of you, is the feeling that you have about your work is kind of genuine. You just have you like it. You like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong and you hide it well, but you like the people, you like the job, you like the experience. You're there because you want to be. And I think it's as simple as that, even with what we were talking about, the recording. And when we're talking about the website, it all comes down to that. Johnny saying, you've got to be feeling it. You've got to be, right there. You're doing what you're doing. You're present. You're liking it. Joanna's saying, I'm putting what I want on my website for my demos. I put them on if I like them. Do you know what I mean? It's everything comes down to just, I got to dump that spreadsheet, don't I?
Yeah, yeah. Daniela, seriously, if you have questions, you get hold of me. I'll help you anytime you want.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any questions you have? Yeah, I don't want you struggling. That's crazy.
Yeah, thank you very much. I definitely do it to myself, but I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I'm getting better. I was really crazy
down
5 years ago.
That self-opera in your head, that commentator in your head takes over.
Yeah.
If you're your own worst enemy, you need new friends.
Yeah, I've had a spreadsheet since, before they had Excel. Now I'm really aging myself. Those tax accounting things with the lines on it, that I found one somewhere.
Those pieces of paper,
with those lines. I started scheduling my life in 15-minute increments on those papers when I was a little girl, and I've carried them with me.
How Anthony Robbins of you. Wow.
Yeah. It's like not giving me any benefit. It's become a tiny bit crazy, but yeah.
What do you do the last 50? I can't imagine 50. If I'm doing something that I like, that's going to be more than 15 minutes.
I would think.
Yeah.
No, I have it color coded.
7 to 7:15.
My whole day. Everything. And I've got every book, every page, how many more minutes I have left to do. I don't stop my recording to check it anymore. I don't. I know that's the quickest way. But yeah, my name is Daniela. I have a spreadsheet problem.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Daniela.
We need some donuts, some strong coffee.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't imagine why you'd have a whole thing longer than, who cares how much time is left in the book? It's when you're done, it's when you're done.
Yeah, no, I know exactly how much time I'm going to be recording or doing everything. I've got everything, washing the dishes.
So the only advantage of that is if somebody quizzes you, you'll have the answer. Yeah.
Well, also, I'm never caught out. You know how people do a book and they're like, oh, it took longer, it took less time. I'm never caught out. I always know exactly how long the book's going to be. Always.
I've never even considered how long it's going to be. I just start it and then finish it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care how long it is. As long as I need to know for deadlines. Like I know a book with a shitload of pages will take longer than a book with 10 pages. But other than that, I don't care. I mean, when I'm done, I'm done.
Use pre-kindergarten math.
That's right. There's a lot of pages. Hope there's pictures.
I think that's good. It's a nice way to live. I'm not sure I could ever do it. I think I'm too old, but
Stephen, I'm older than you. I just don't put pressure on yourself.
To be creative, what do they say? Well, you're supposed to be more right-brained, but you can also be equally brained and have, right and left spheres that are equal. But you sound like you're leaning too heavily on the left side.
Yeah.
I get anxiety if I don't have it. If I don't know what I'm going to do, that it's going to fit into time increments. I get anxiety. I get very anxious.
This sounds like literally a therapy issue, not an audiobook issue.
But on the other hand, I can do the full-time job. I can, you know what I mean? I can do videos. I get things done. So that's why it's like telling a workaholic that it's not good to be a workaholic. If you're a workaholic.
Well, I think I'm a workaholic. I just don't schedule shit. I just work.
He just does it.
Yeah.
I'm awful. If I don't have work, I'm awful. I'm one of those people who wastes boatloads of time. If I don't, what I do, I don't have an Excel. What I write down is I put in my phone what time I have to do things and I do it.
you know, a lot of people follow schedules, right?
Sure. Don't
You,
like
Joanna?
looking around.
She's looking around.
Yeah. Yes, darling. Yes, they do. Yes. My word. Well,
But it's been, oh, I almost forgot. Final words of wisdom for the YouTube audience, please. That'll be
Oh.
watching you in 60 years.
Final words of wisdom.
that
Yes.
sounds so.
Final
sounds,
word.
oh.
Well, because this
Bye, you
video
guys,
might
sorry.
outlive all of us.
You have final words.
I'll tell you, it's a final word of wisdom for those who watch me in 60 years. If you're seeing this, I'm dead now.
What have you left to who?
Here's the thing. Life, no matter how long you have, is finite. You have to enjoy what you do. You simply have to. And you have to do whatever you have to. I mean, not to destroy anyone else's enjoyment and not to be, take it to the extreme. But please, please do what you need to do to enjoy this, especially this business. There are so many people willing and anxious to help you and give you advice. This is a very mentoring group, as I've often said. Take that. There is a world ready to welcome you in its arms, and this is it. You just have to be true to the author's truth and share the story to the best of your ability, but enjoy yourself. If you don't like this, my advice is don't do this.
Is your words of wisdom?
Yes, sir. You?
Joanne?
Me? Well, I guess my words of wisdom. Let's see. What I've said twice already, which is get outside your head. Just do the work. Take a chance. Take a risk. Try different things. You're in a booth. You can always, 86 it and start all over if you want to. You have complete freedom, so enjoy it. Play.
I love that. I love you guys. Thank you so much for a spectacular call. I'm very, very grateful. You guys are wonderful.
I can't believe you had us and asked us back again.
Yes.
Oh, careful what you ask for.
Thank you
Yes.
all. It's wonderful to here to see you and everything. So look
Thank
forward
you
to hearing.
very much. The video will be up in about a week, and thank you so much. You guys are just wonderful and charming. I shall be very jealous when you have your retreat this year, but next year I'll be there with bells on.
Come. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. Thank
Romick. Bye.
you.
Bye, Jimmy. Bye, Jimmy. Romick.
Washboard rhythm song. Come on, everybody, tap along. First you scrub a dub, then you tap and rub. You might have to yell when you hear the bell ring out loud and long. Oh, everybody scrub